And good morning, good morning. Happy Sunday to each and every one of you. We are here again with the Redeeming Marketplace Ministries to remind you uh, that even in the midst of all of this turbulence that we're experiencing, that God is still in control, that we still have within us the ability to survive and thrive, right? The power is with the people. The power that God has given us, that we were created with, is in us, and we will survive. I want to just remind you all week long, we have been inundated with negative things that are going on, especially from the White House, things that are seeking to um, overpower everything that our ancestors have fought for. But I want to remind you that we have within us, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to share this to another page. We have within us the ability to, I'm so sorry. We have within us the ability and the power to make it through all of this. We've been through um, turbulent times before, and we have survived, and we will survive this time. All right. So what we have to do is to remind ourselves. Some years ago, I was praying for a miracle, and the Spirit of God said to me, "You don't need another miracle. All you need is a memory, right? Because I'm the same God with the same power. I've done it before, and I will do it again." And that is what I want to remind you today: is that we are not forsaken. We are not forgotten. We are not without hope, right? And, as I said, we have seen so much this week and gone through so much this week. And what we're not going to do today is to dwell on the negative things that are going on, right? We are going to remind you that you have within you the power to endure all of this. Not only just to endure it, but to change it, right? We have the God given power, the divine power from our Creator that enables us to be able to, trying to get my lighting straight here, to be able to withstand all of this extra. I posted on my page earlier that just because a person, a madman sitting behind a desk with a pen that he's using as a weapon of destruction for whole uh, groups of marginalized people, right? Um, you know, that does not negate our history, does not negate who we are now, nor does it negate who we will be in the future, because we have divine power within us to endure this. And so I'm not one of those pastors, preachers, spiritual leaders that says to people, I'm not just quoting scriptures, and I'm not just spewing religious rhetoric to people. I want you to be realistic about what is going on. Be aware of what's going on. Pull your head out of the sand. Be informed, but do not be consumed by what is going on. Be consumed and empowered to know that we will survive this because we have survived. We are survivors. We have the Spirit of God in us, and we will make it through these turbulent times. There's political turmoil, there's environmental disasters taking place, there are deaths of persons, deaths of dreams, deaths of visions. Um, we are looking at some of the things that our ancestors literally gave their lives for, uh, and the enemy, through people, um, are trying to remove or erase those things. But it will not be. It shall not be. All right. Um, the creator of all things has the final say. And our history will not be erased. Our people did not endure what they endured for it all to be forgotten. And we are responsible for using our voices to make sure that these things are not forgotten. This is why our oratory uh, collaborations are so important, and why it's important for us to write down what's going on, what our history is. Other people can't take away what's in your heart, what's in your mind, and what's in your spirit. We have within us the gift to survive, right? We must ground ourselves as never before in our faith, in what we believe and what we know to be true. We must ground ourselves in the memory that we have survived and thrived before, and we are going to do it again. Yes, people are being triggered. Um, there's a rise in mental health and issues because of what's going on, but we have been here before, people, and we have made it. So every day I encourage you to mentally and physically celebrate the positives. Okay. Be informed about what's going on, but celebrate the positives. This is my pastoral address to you. I'm wondering, I had a conversation with another pastor, and we were talking about, um, instead of these spiritual leaders getting on social media arguing back and forth about doctrinal beliefs, we need to be inspiring hope, and we need to be inspiring the people to not give up, not to quit. And today, I'm here to tell you there is hope. We have hope, right? And we will not quit. I stand before you today, even in the midst of all that's going on. I do have a heaviness in my heart because I see pain, right? I see and I feel discouragement. I feel despondency, right? But in the midst of all of that, I am compelled by the Spirit of God to speak words of truth and hope to you, and to remind you that our victory, our overcoming is rooted firmly in God's promises to us. Throughout history, we have witnessed moments um, when powers, those that are supposedly in power, um, have allowed their hearts to be hardened towards us, and they've used their power to oppress the marginalized and vulnerable people among us. But time and time again, we see, even in the scripture, we see in our history, we see in world history, that even in the midst of the times when the leaders wanted to oppress the people and went out of their way to oppress groups of people, our Creator always has a plan, always had a plan for us to overcome the oppression and the injustices. I want to remind you today that our God is not blind to what is going on. I have people ask me all the time, why does God allow these things? All right, where is God in the midst of all this? First, I want to say that God did not create the turmoil and the injustices and things that we see going on. Those are things that man created, right? And because we were created with free will and choice, in some situations, we have chosen to allow these things to happen. And then when our backs are pressed up against the wall, then we want to scream and holler for help. But I want to remind you today that God is not blind to what is going on. And because he is a righteous judge, because God is a God of justice, um, Men's schemes cannot erase the plans that our Creator has for us. Our Bible is full of, and again, I'm one of those preachers that doesn't just get inspiration or messages or revelations from the Bible, but the Bible does contain stories of people being oppressed and our Creator providing deliverance for them. The story of Pharaoh and the Israelites is a perfect story. Exodus chapter 1, actually, the whole book of Exodus uh, exhibits the acts of bigotry and genocide that were meant to annihilate the future of God's chosen people, right? Again, we see, just as today, those in leadership wanting to annihilate a whole group of people, to annihilate their history, to annihilate who they are and the power that they possess. But just as God sent a deliverer to raised up a deliverer in Moses to to deliver those people from that oppression, today I am speaking to you that you are to be a Moses in your family, in your community, in your nation, in your neighborhoods. You be the Moses. You speak up, right? You develop an intimate and personal relationship with the Creator so that you can receive instruction, personal direction as to what needs to be done in your situation, in your family situation. You be the Moses. It is in these moments when it seems like hatred and oppression are winning that we have to remember that we have within us the power to overcome all of this. The power is always in the people, right? The power, the Spirit of God, that if you have a relationship with God, I didn't say if you belong to a church, I didn't say if you have a religious affiliation, if you have a relationship with your Creator, you have within you the power to stand up, to rise up, to speak up, be a voice, be a Moses in these turbulent times. There's also the story in the Bible about Queen Esther and how she came to uh, the palace for at a specific time. It was divinely orchestrated that she rose to that position and the time that she did. Esther chapter 4, right? With courage and faith, she risked her life to intercede for her people. We need intercessors today. We don't need intercessors that somebody appointed you to be an intercessor, that the pastor told you you were an intercessor. We need people that have a passion and a love for people and people that understand the power in prayer, the power in works, because we have to do more than just pray. Each one of these people that you will hear about, they didn't just sit home and pray, right? I hear people say that all the time. Well, I'm just going to pray. Prayer is a powerful tool. Yeah, I love prayer, like seriously, but I have to do some work behind the prayer, and so you have to do some work as well. Find out what you can do in your home, in your family, in your community to help deal with those who are feeling attacked right now, right? As a whole, as a people, whole groups of people, whole ethnicities are being attacked by the people in leadership that were put there by some of us. Right? That's a whole nother different story. Um, but we're not. It's not over, right? We still win. We still have the God within us and the power within us to win. So, just as Moses was uh, rose up to be a deliverer for his people, you can be a deliverer for in your communities, right? As Esther said, I will risk my life. What she said was, if I perish, I perish. In other words, if I die fighting for what I know is right, if I die standing up for my people, then that's what I'll have to do. but I am going to see the King. In other words, no matter what may happen to me, I'm going to do what I know is right to do for my people. This is where I stand today. I stand in the power and the authority that the Creator has given me to encourage you not to lose hope, not to give up, not to lose your faith, because truth and power will prevail. The promises of God will prevail. And so, above all, the greatest example we have of a person whose earthly ministry confronted head on the religious and political systems of his day, and that is the Jesus the Christ, right? People always want to talk about, God is love, God, like all this passive, um, don't say anything, if people do something to you, don't say anything bad. But Jesus was radical, right? Jesus confronted head on religious and political systems and did not bite his tongue about what he believed. Today, we have to speak up. We have to do more than sit home and pray. We have to, we got to do something. And this is what we're calling for today, right? We are in tumultuous times. We are in challenging times, right? Don't pretend that we're not. Don't just do that. Don't say, well, God is in control and, that's the end of that. No. What are you doing? What are you doing with what you've been given to make things better for people? I'm offering you a word of hope today. We are not in this alone, and we are not going to fail. I want to give you a reminder to pause, exhale, and trust in the Creator's sovereignty, right? I post sometimes things about what's going on because I want people to be informed, because I know a lot of people that are just not paying attention at all, right? All they worrying about is, well, God's got it, so I'm not worrying about it. But we have to be informed to know what's going on, so we even know what it is we're supposed to be praying about, right? We can't do that if I don't know it don't bother me. That's crazy. It is bothering you. It is affecting you. It is impacting you every single day. You need to know what's going on. Um, I was looking through some other literature that I had because as I said, I just don't quote scriptures and read scriptures. I find inspiration and motivation and even healing, right, in other writings. And I came across some quotes that I believe will help you. One was by Howard Thurman, and it says, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it." Because what the world needs is people who have come alive, right? So don't sit back pointing fingers and shaking your head and saying this world is in bad shape. Okay, yes, we know the world is in bad shape. But what can you offer? What can you do to change things? When you come alive, when you walk in your divine purpose, it impacts the whole world. And so we're called to lean into our unique brilliance, and purpose given to us by the Creator. Mahatma Gandhi says, be the change that you wish to see in the world, right? You want to see more love, be more loving. You want to see people be treated fairly, they treat people fairly, all right? We're also reminded to embrace courage and live boldly in our God given purpose. Walk boldly, right? Hold your head up. Be bold about what you have inside of you. John Wooden says, don't let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. I don't know how many times I heard that, even during the election cycle, for people that said, well, I'm not going to vote because it won't make no difference. And look at where we are now. Some say they voted for Donald Trump because of the price of groceries was so high. Yeah, here we are. Some people paying $7, almost $8 for a dozen eggs. So that didn't change anything. All right. So I'm encouraging you today to use what you can to do what you can. All right. You can't change the whole world by yourself, but you can change, first of all, your own self, how you feel, how you act, how you interact. You can change your family members' opinion of things. In some cases, you can change what's going on in your community by not just looking out the window saying that's a hot mess going on out there and closing the window. You can become involved in saving our communities, saving our children, right? So we use Jeremiah 29:11, and we pair that with Howard Thurman's quote. And together we inspire you to trust in God's plan while you're using your own unique passions. Philippians 4:13, we compare with Marion Wilson's quote to embolden you to embrace your strength and your brilliance. And then we combine Psalm 46:10 with Helen Keller's quote so that we can underscore the importance of being still, trusting in God, and finding unity in the community, right? I've talked to some people this week whose anxiety is through the roof. They say they can't sleep, they can't eat because every day there's something else on the news um, that is happening in the country that is affecting groups and groups of people. And so they say, I can't even sleep anymore, Pastor Jamie. I can't. I'm so upset. I'm so afraid. I'm so nervous. I'm so anxious. That's not serving any purpose, right? Still yourself, ground yourself, exhale, right? And trust in your Creator to provide you with the ability. You already have the ability, but to empower you to use what you have. What do you have that you can use to strengthen yourself? What do you use that can provide food, family, money, opportunities for your family members, right? What do you have in your hand? What gifts do you have? What talents do you have? What creativity do you have? And I know it can become discouraging sometimes when you feel like you are doing things to help people and they're not responding to what you offer. I understand that. But you don't give up because whether you know it or not, you are blessing somebody. Even if they never tell you, you are blessing somebody simply by being alive and by being who you are. I encourage you today not to quit. Whatever we do, we lean into our God-given strength and we don't give up. I don't care what's going on in the White House, right? God has the final say. I encourage you today to get in position and pray for strategies. Pray for opportunities to use what you have. Do more than just sit home and sit in the recliner wrapped up in your blanket saying, I'm praying, and posting your fears on social media and spreading your anxiety to everybody you come in contact with. God has not given us a spirit of fear. We were not created to walk in fear. We were not created to be feeling inferior. I don't care what that man says in the White House. We are not an inferior people. We are not less than anybody. Know your truth. Walk in your truth. Know what God has said about you and pay attention to that. Not what some madman is saying about you, not what some group of people that don't even know you are saying about you. Know what your Creator says about you and walk in that. Yes? So I encourage you today, from this moment on, to determine that you will be all that you were created to be. And pray for the validation of your feelings and your realities while also walking in your power to heal and renew. Yes. Pray that you ask the Creator to increase your capacity to impact the world, to increase your capacity to live, not merely to exist, but to live. Pray that the Creator would fill your empty places, to fill those voids that you have in your mind and your spirit, right? Fill those empty places. Pray for the Creator to lift the weightiness, right, that you have on you. Pray that He would heal your grief so that you can move on to a place of healing. That is my pastoral address to you today. I offer you hope. I pray that you walk in hope. I pray that you walk in faith. Remember that our God, our Creator, is just. He sees, He knows, and He acts. A lot of the things that we are doing and seeing are results of our own decisions. So we can't just say, well, God should never allow this to happen. God should allow that. Well, some things we created and we have to suffer the consequences of it, right? That reactions from what we've done. But that does not negate the fact that within us is the divine power to live, to succeed. Read your Bible, right? Read these other holy texts. Read other books that suit your strength and your ability to endure. Think about some of the stories that your ancestors shared with you about things that they went through and they endured, right? Think about stuff that you've read. It's a lot of our history has been removed from our books. So a lot of things we don't know from the history book because it was deliberately left out. But if you have elders that are in your family that are still alive, make time to sit with them. Ask them some questions. Let them pour into you, pour life. Let them speak life into you. That's why I say to young people all the time, it is important that you have a relationship with the elders in your family. Because that's why so many of our young people are acting like they're acting, because they don't know where to come from and they don't understand the power that they have. They don't understand the royalty. They don't understand the legacy, and they're just responding to stimulation. That is enough. You are doing way too much. Sit down. So I want you to hold on to your hope, right? Don't quit. Don't give up. Live the way that you were designed to live. Be all that you were designed to be. As I close today, I want you to know that I am praying for you. I am praying with you. I'm praying for all of us because I feel the same thing you feel, right? I feel the anger. I feel the disgust. I feel the disappointment. I feel all of that. But at the same time, I have hope because I know that this is not how it's going to end for me. All right? I'd like to remind you to sow seed into the ministry. You know, if you received anything from this message today, if this ministry has blessed you in any way, you should sow seed into it so that we can continue it, that we can continue to do things to help in our community. Anything that you reap from, right, you should sow into. Anything that feeds you, you should sow into. So we invite you to sow into the ministry today. All right? Remember that we are praying for you, constantly on our minds and our hearts, constantly talking to the Creator about what we need to do to get through these times. And I promise you that we are going to make it. All right? Thank you so much for tuning in today. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed week. Amen.